right. Wait till we lose our empire and have some more world wars, and we've only had a couple. We're 300 years old, and they've got problems that are 2,000 years old. So that's true. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe we are just naive young people in a young culture that still believe that anything is possible.
The upshot is you gotta treat your customers in a way that they like being treated, and
right.
Here in America, that's being nice. And I mean, it is like growing up, I was not the happiest person, so this stuff always seemed really inauthentic to me. But eventually I realized that if you want to be happy, you have to do certain things in your life, and then you become happier, and then it's not inauthentic to.
Well, but that's a very deep lesson that for everybody is that okay, I'm unhappy. Let me do things better in my life. Let me take actions that are better in my life, and the happiness comes from that. That's a big lesson because a lot of us think that happiness is going to come from something else. But as far as customers are concerned, customer service is concerned. I've checked into hotels where the people behind the front desk were not happy at all with their own lives, and they were miserable, and you could feel that, and they just didn't treat you very well. And I see that, with some consistency. I think some people would say that they remember a time when there was a lot of great customer service, and they don't see that so much. So I think people, if they were to measure it, I just read an article called "Customer Service is Dying," and I'm not feeling so good myself. And in the article I talked about that what happened to it, and I had an interesting thing that happened to me. I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and I was speaking at a convention, and I was coming to a hotel, and I got stuck in the revolving door. That sounds ridiculous, but I did. To this day, I have a fear of revolving doors. Anyway, and a fear of Marriott's. Anyway, but so I came in, and my luggage got stuck, and there was a guy wearing the employee uniform, and I'm clearly stuck in a revolving door. It's slammed under my luggage. My luggage is squished. I'm sitting there, and I said, "Hey, can you help me?" And the guy said, "Let me find someone who can help you." I said, "Wait, you're someone. Why don't you help me? I just need you to come help me."
Right.
I wanted to go find someone to help me as I'm stuck. So I think that mentality of, hey, there's a lack of urgency, a lack of sense of urgency. You call on the phone and say, "I've got a problem." There's a lack of sense of urgency for someone to solve your problem. Now,
well, you clearly didn't feel like he cared enough. Like if he was like, "Oh my goodness, okay, hang on 1 second, let me go get somebody," maybe you would have been okay with it.
Right. But that leads us to another thing, and that is generational differences. People who are under 30 years old don't have the same sense of urgency that older people do, and the reason they don't is because they saw their parents stress out and freak out, and it's different. If you were in kindergarten, if you're under 30 in kindergarten, they said life is good, life is great, we're going to reward you without accomplishment to build your self-esteem, and you're okay no matter what. And if you're making macaroni art, if the macaroni goes on the paper or your face, it's still art. That was the message. When I was in kindergarten, they said, okay, when you see the bright light flash from the nuclear explosion, get under your desk, okay?
Right.
And then after that was nap time. Of course, I couldn't sleep. So I think that's different. I think it's a different we have exposed people to a different level of information and a different life, and they may be who they are. So maybe society has created our own customer service issues. At least, that's.
Well, do you think, so speaking of Gen Y, what have you seen what their expectation is in terms of customer service for them?
Well, it goes back to what I said earlier. They just want things not to break down. The question is, who wants to be serviced? In reality. Though I think what I think I want is for me not to have the problem. I don't want to spend time having you give me service. I want to never have had the problem. And that's why you hear all these modern customer service concepts of solving people's problems before that they know that they have them. What is the future of customer service? That's it. But then that means the future of customer service is a kiosk, right? In other words, you're not going to have a customer issue because here's your little thing. You push this button and your problem is solved. You don't have to deal with a human.
Right. And it always helps to have a better product and not have a revolving door that's electronic and and have all your iPhone voicemail setup work.
Well, if we figured out why we need a revolving door, whatever happened to just doors? Why can't it just Why can't you just open up automatically? Why does it have to revolve?
They're exciting. I mean, again, it's like we got to put more cheese in different parts of the pizza. We need different kinds of doors for a more fun experience, I guess. I don't know.
Have you just created pizza to revolving doors and tried to make that work? Is that what you're just trying to do?
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. People are trying to be too inventive, and they're inventive in ways that cause more problems, you know?
Right.
They're not trying to think like what, you know, and I'm not saying we should just be completely functional and have no fun whatsoever, but that's why I don't go in revolving doors, is because it's not, it's electronic, you know? Like I walk into that thing that's supposed to be able to tell if you're in it, and I start to wonder if I'm a vampire because, like, it doesn't respond to me. Maybe I'm too short. I don't know what the deal is, but those things don't turn for me, so I never use them. But anyway.
Are you trying to say that you're like some type of revolving door ghost?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if I go in a door that makes me doubt my existence, then that makes me a little insecure. That's not a customer experience.
That's when you know your customer's having a bad experience is when you've caused them to doubt their existence. That is pure. That's
right.
That's terrible customer service.
Customer service. We're talking about how, you know, product design and the quality of the company itself affects customer service. Well, let's move this. We got a few minutes left. Let's move it to what about the issue of like with social media? Now you've got things where things are like, how much does customer service overlap with marketing?
Right.
Because, you know, there's a really blurry line to me. The experience that your customers have with you on the phone or with social media or whatever, I mean, shouldn't customer service people be thinking like marketers?
Well, you know, that's a very blurry and scary line, and it's actually been that way a long time before social media. You know, the idea was if you can solve a customer's problem they're having, okay, they are more likely to do more business with you, okay? There's no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, you know, back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, some companies were accused of creating customer problems as a reason to reach out. So, you know, but when it comes to social media, well, I think it is. I mean, the greatest thing in the world, I mean, and Wells Fargo did this in a great way, is that people were on Twitter complaining about it, and they had that big there's a website that says Wells Fargo sucks and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And what happened was is that Wells Fargo went out on Twitter and to communicate with people and say, how can we help you? Hey, we're at Wells Fargo. We're sorry you've had the issue, and solve some customer problems in front of the view of the Twitter sphere. And so I think that's outstanding.
Yeah, it overlaps with PR too. I mean, you know, that thing recently with GM, like GM's like, oh, we're not going to do Facebook ads anymore because they don't work, and then Ford comes back and says, well, we're going to spend more, and we're doing it. It's working for us because we have strategy, and you don't. And, and then there was an article I saw where a lady. This is a great article. It says 11 boring things GM posted on Facebook, which illustrates they have no idea how to be interesting in social media. They said things like, check out this picture of our chairman and CEO, Dan Akerson. Or what was the other one? Here's another one.
That was what they posted? Check out our chairman and CEO?
My joke is always like, your business should not be posting pictures of your company bowling night out on Facebook because no one cares.
Not to criticize bowling, but bowling has never had a big impact on anything. I mean, it's never. No one's ever said, "Man, I tell you what, did you see these guys bowling?" No one's ever said that.
Let me show you some more of my bowling photographs. Oh, please, yeah, let's do that. No.
Nobody ever says, I tell you what, one of my favorite people I met in the bowling alley. No one's ever said that either. So.
Well, if someone's posting pictures of their CEO on Facebook, that they're way more interested in not losing their job than they are in figuring out how to do a good job with social media.
Well, someone probably said, listen, we need to get a budget for social media. I've got to convince the top people that social media is viable, so let's just put pictures of them on Facebook, and that will show you. I guess. I don't know.
I went on the CEO says, I went on our Facebook page. I saw that picture of me. Your budget is approved.
That's exactly right. What
I saw my picture.
I guess. To me, that is weird. But I think that social media can do a lot for customer service because once again you can reach out and connect with people and answer questions. I tell you one thing, when it comes to about LinkedIn, being able to create groups and have advocate groups on there and have people communicating and what it does for project management and solving problems and all that.
Right.
And I think that's, I think if they're doing that, then customer service is a lot of things it can do.
And one lesson from LinkedIn is that all your employees are visible there. Imagine,
right.
It's such a different world for people in executive management. I think for big companies, you've always known there are certain of your employees who should have no interaction with the public, right?
Right.
Now you have to be a little bit more careful about making sure they don't have any interaction with the public, through Twitter and LinkedIn. And so what I recommend people do is have what I call a brand army, which is more than maybe you had in the past, the people who would interact with the public. But they also need to be volunteer, and they also need to have some kind of training, and you have to have policy and make sure that none of the weirdos, you probably have some weirdos at your company,
sure,
should not be interacting with the public. Most of them won't want to, and that's great. But you might have occasionally a few people that want to.
Oh, yeah.
You can't let them because, people have lost business. All kinds of bad things have happened when somebody puts out the wrong tweet for a company,
Well, there are people who probably are being, interacting with the public is not their thing. We've all encountered somebody who say, wow, this person should not be around other people. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah.
But this happened to me, and when you want to really talk about customer service as maybe maybe you're just doing the wrong thing to begin with. I checked into a hotel in Tennessee, and it was weird. The building was weird, and it reminded me of like a government building. Well, guess what? It was a government-run hotel. So imagine like checking into a hotel and the lady from the DMV is at the front desk. It was just horrible. These people could not care if you lived or died.
You can't check in without 5 forms of identification, and you're going to have to go back home.
No, I'm telling you. It was weird. I'm going to check in, and apparently there's like a yellow line that's like 5 feet off the desk. Apparently I have to stand behind it before I walk up. It's just, it was. I'm telling you, this is a true story. It sounds like a joke. It's not. There was a hotel in Tennessee, which I will not name, and literally it was a government-run hotel, and it was crazy. When you called room service, they were so disappointed you called. They don't want to bring anybody food. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And like room service shut down like at 8:30 or something. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. So, some people shouldn't be in the business they're in because they're unwilling to deliver customer service. Maybe that's it. If we go back to Delta, maybe you have to be, if you're going to be in that business, you've got to treat the people, especially when they spend the most money with you, well. And I think that's what hurts in a situation like that.
Yep. Well, let's wrap it up. So,
okay.
That was a great final statement. I think we've covered a few things like treat people the way they want to be treated. Don't let everybody in your company interact with the public. And think about, to me that's the biggest lesson is put yourself in your customer's shoes. That's not something you can do without sitting and thinking about it for a bit. And so many people are bad at it. If they would really think about how the other person felt, they would do a better job.
That's true. I think we can all be better at customer service. I think the moment you say that, well, I think I've really reached the top, the pinnacle of my delivery of service, that you have to be careful with that because I think we can always do it better and strive to do it better. So.
We want to thank you for tuning in to another edition of Chaos Pie. It takes a lot of people to make each episode of Chaos Pie successful, so I want to thank our Chief Intern, Jack Welch, our Chief Financial Officer, Bernie Madoff, and our Chief Bagel Gopher, Tom Peters. Also, our Key Grip, Cliff Hanger, Head of Security, Julian Assange, and our hairstylist, Donnie Trump, Small Business Expert, Sam Walton, and KFC Gopher, Andrew Fowler. Also, get well messages go out to our depressed friends currently under treatment, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, and Norman Vincent Peale. That's it for this week. Have a great week.